Hey, what's going on, Steve?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm doing well.
All
You've
right.
uh you've gone through the boot camp before, haven't you?
Yeah, I did. I think it was maybe number six,
Okay.
but at the time, I think I was very distracted by work. So I feel like this is kind of my first real time through. Yeah,
Oh, awesome.
yeah. It's been good. I've learned a lot. Um,
Awesome. I love hearing that.
yeah, yeah. I'm putting some pieces together. How's it going from your end?
I think it's going great.
Yeah.
It's a really engaged group, like lots of good questions coming back, and it feels like, I think just having this, since this is the first time that we're doing like we're giving these prompts for the exercises, I think it makes it
Hmm.
just that much simpler and faster for people to, at least get something to react to kind of see how these exercises, how they can
Yeah.
use them.
Well, to that point, I'm glad you mentioned that. So I have a client that I needed to put an account-based marketing plan together for, including campaigns and all that. And just off of the three prompts or the three prompts you gave us, I was able to like significantly compress. It was kind of hybrid because I'd done a bunch of the research myself, but I was able to really compress what we did and get it out to them. Like I put it
Yeah,
together yesterday afternoon in a couple of hours. Yeah,
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 yeah. I mean,
yeah.
that's what I mean. There's with AI. That's what I see the big change is just speed of implementation
Mhm.
is one of the um, is just one of the big shifts that are happening. So I mean, even for like somebody who's doing freelance copywriting or anything, I think that clients are going to start expecting you know long form, short form sales copy a lot faster.
Mhm.
As folks learn how to you have to learn how to use AI to get it, especially if you're writing copy to get it to not sound um, like AI wrote it. But
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, good.
So your business, Steve, you have a sales system. Is that kind of, or sales
Actually,
consulting?
you know what? It's a little bit different than that. I mean, I do, but I'm not playing in that. I was doing that for a while, but
Hmm.
my latest pivot, I'm actually a sort of a package of brand of strategy, business strategy, brand strategy, product market fit, and then sales and like kind of come in and give some executive leadership there. But what
Hmm.
I've recently pivoted to a couple weeks ago, as I keep refining this, is I'm going to market here in the next week or two with something really simple. Fix your sales team. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll wind up doing a whole bunch of the other executive work and we get to the end of it, and then clients just want me to fix their sales team. And then we do other stuff.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so I'm going to experiment with that for a while and see what comes from that. But it's as I've tested it, the feedback is good because it's
Yep.
really simple and it's a big pain for my market. Yeah, yeah.
Do you find like with that kind of positioning, do
Hmm.
you do you spend like is there a typical place in the sales process where it's breaking down? So like the appointment setter, or do you spend more time on the with the closers?
Yeah, actually, so I've what I've learned, and now it's pretty simple, is I walk in, we look at the numbers, and then
Yeah.
we can figure out whether the problems with people's close rates, the deal sizes, or
Yeah.
we need more better appointments. Yeah. And what I'm finding a lot is often owners or management are expecting salespeople to do more, but
Hmm.
the close rates and the deal sizes, even if they were doing more, doesn't get them where they need to go. So there's always a systems problem beyond the band-aid, right? And
Yeah.
so that's yeah. So that's what I've been in dialogue with myself and my market trying to figure out for say the last 8 months. Yeah,
Yeah. Do you
yeah,
run into issues where like the offer is not as good as they think it is as well?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah, I imagine
and
so.
not just the offer, Chris, but often it's the if it's on tech or AI or SaaS,
Hmm.
it's the product market fit as
Yeah.
well. It's so you know what you hit on this the other day, and this described it exactly. It's like people start, the you should start with the market and
Yeah.
then write the copy, not start with the copy and that's what same thing happens with the product. They build the product and then they try and go find a market for it instead of the other way around. Yeah,
Hmm.
and that's the majority of it.
That's the fun
And
part, is building the
and
product.
hey, and hey, Chris, here's the big insight that is totally overlooked in the sales industry is that piece right there, right? Like everybody, and also that ties right back to I don't know if you've heard of Steve Blank and the Lean Startup. Eric Ries did the Lean
Oh yeah.
Startups.
Yep.
Steve Blank, Eric Ries took that from Steve Blank in his book. I think it's called the Startup Owner's Manual or something like that. It's the same thing. So Gene Schwartz had this all figured out way before way before the tech boom.
He did. He did indeed.
Anyway,
We
cool,
got some
cool stuff.
more.
I'm seeing lots of connections where what you're teaching applies beyond advertising. So if you ever want to riff on
Yeah.
that, let me know. We can dive
Oh, that'd
dive
be
in
awesome.
sometime. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally,
that'd be awesome.
totally.
Good to see more folks coming on. Everybody doing all right? It's morning here.
Yep.
Move some of these. Uh,
Chris,
yes.
am I right in thinking that the best advertisement for this was the one with the dog?
Ah.
Or you
Um,
not track it? You just
the no, no, we tracked it. The one actually that performed best with in terms of total uh total sales was the elephant ad. All
very
that.
cool.
And that one also got quite a bit of hate. Well, I mean, more hate than I expected, but
Yeah,
people
but
were,
in this game, hate is love, right? So that's
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. Like that was surprising. And
Well,
people were
wait,
just angry.
maybe weave that into as an example somewhere along the pathway of the boot camp. That would be fun.
The elephant ad.
Yeah. How does what's the Gene Schwartz takedown on your elephant ad?
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, we had this was the first time that we actually ran a proper um, ad campaign for the boot camp, and I mean, Facebook says it brought in 26 buyers. I always take that with a grain of salt because they tend to overestimate a little, but we track all that in the back end. So I'll go back with our analytics person and because I want to find out like who bought from Facebook so we can kind of track them along the process here. But yeah, the elephant ad is the one that performed best, and then the second place winner um, was just me talking right here, and I showed a clip from 1991 where Gene said copies isn't written, it's assembled. So
But
that was the second.
I don't know if I was targeted or you know, how you did targeting on it, but I saw almost all of them
Yeah.
repeatedly in multiple channels. So that was pretty neat how that happened. Yeah.
Yeah. And we were spending it was just hundred bucks a day on ad spend, and we started that. There's a little bit of a warm up where we were doing audience building just on video views for about 4 or 5 days, low ad spend, and then 10 days out, we we were targeting those video viewers, and then other people that we have pixeled. Um, and and that's when we started doing $100 a day.
Morning, Chris.
Hey, what's going on, Brian?
Yeah, so I was on the call yesterday with Marigold. Uh,
Oh,
so
great.
that's we're working with a Facebook advertising agency that actually works with some big players, including Jeff Walker. And they did a lot. They did the program for us, and we were going through some of the ads, and the ones that did well, not only the elephant one, but it's the walking, talking
Yeah.
ads, the videos,
Yep.
and the walking, talking videos were with you. And I
Yeah.
said to them, if I do one with me, I'm going to blow you away because I'll do so much better than you could do. I'm just kidding.
Well,
No, you
you
did great. I'm kidding. But I want to do some of those because, there
no.
are some people that might recognize me, and that could be it could be to our disadvantage, but it could be to our advantage as well.
Yeah. No, I'd love to have you doing those walk and talks.
Yeah, and they were talking about, we were talking about being able to, they agree with us, and it's obvious, to try to sell Titan's Accelerator straight up on a Facebook ad, that's not a good use of the medium. But
Mm.
I was thinking about some ideas because, I think we're so much about, trying it before you buy it and, extending the free line and all of those things. And I think that, somebody who samples Titan's Accelerator, and I'll be totally transparent with the boot campers who are here today who are not Titans Accelerator members, we're going to want you to join Titans Accelerator after this. I'm not hiding that. And if you don't, it's fine. You can enjoy the boot camp and you can enjoy another boot camp and never join Titans Accelerator. But that's one of the reasons I want you to come on the Titans Accelerator call next Thursday. It's going to be a killer call, and you'll see what the community is all about. But beyond that, being able to give somebody a sampling off an ad on a landing page into the group, like a sample Titans Accelerator call, could be one of the things we could use as a CTA. And I know we've talked about that before, but now that we have, some ads that we think can work, I think that might be an interesting offer. I'd be curious if anybody, well, this isn't about us, this is about you guys, but we're not, but I'd love to get some feedback from the accelerators on our next call or whenever about different offers we could do to just entice people because, I'm not saying the group sells itself, but, if you're in it, you know what it's about, and that's when the magic happens. And I was thinking about it today as well, because Friday is normally my writing day, and I usually take no calls, no meetings. So, we're doing a boot camp call today because you guys are special. And I'm actually every Friday, this is my mug that I take out of my cupboard. Eugene Schwartz is my homeboy mug. Um, and then everybody says, well, we should get one of those for being in the boot camp. So I thought this morning, Chris, I'll put it out there now because I will buy this mug for anybody in the boot camp, not an accelerator member. Anybody who's not an accelerator member who joins the boot camp, I will personally send you one of these mugs if you join Accelerator. So I just added an extra bonus, which you don't know about, Chris. But I was writing my blog this morning for this week, and it was about hot seats. It was about, the magic of hot seats. And I realized I was inspired by our last call on the boot camp because what we had there was a bunch of what I call pop-up hot seats.
Mhm.
Somebody asks a question about the book, then we apply it to their business. Some people did ask specific questions about their specific business, and we applied it to their business. And then, we got into a conversation that, exploded into like learning for everybody because, I'm not saying every hot seat is universal, but there are elements of every single hot seat we've ever done that I've ever done. And then I went back. So the blog post is about how I got obsessed with hot seats. And it's because I became a student of hot seats. if you're going to be good at something, you got to be a student first. And and so I became a student of hot seats through John Carlton. John Carlton learned it from Gary Halbert, who's the OG of hot seats. And then I did hot seats with Jay Abraham at my mastermind and Dan Kennedy at my mastermind, watching them do hot seats. And then I just steal smart from them, make the hot seat, my hot seats, when I host a hot seat, I make them what I want them to be. And then it's just magical because it's controlled collaboration in a way. It's order out of chaos. You got ideas flying and then you try to bring it together. And we have people in Accelerator who do this amazingly. I'm just looking at some of the people. I mean, David Bear is like a master at like there'll be a bunch of ideas and then he'll bring it all together and give you like a universal out of it. And there's a lot of people that do that. Michael Roderick does that. A lot of people in the group do that, and it makes it even more magical. So anyway, that's what I'm writing about. I'm not mentioning names. Don't worry, David. I won't embarrass you. But I'm not mentioning names, but I'm really, really, I was really going deep with it. And then I was interrupted because I had to come on this stupid call. So how dare you interrupt my writing today? But I'm here and I'm here to learn from Chris. So I'll turn it over to you, Chris.
But
I was just people were just
Oh, Nina has something.
I just want to
commenting.
so because I
Oh, go
really
ahead.
want to get my paws on that mug. If I cancel my membership this afternoon and then resubscribe tomorrow, can I find that loophole?
You know what?
I respect that loophole.
Let me think about. No, don't cancel your membership. We'll
But
figure out a way to get you a mug,
it's a
Nina.
good mug.
Yeah,
It's
it's
good
a great
mug.
mug.
Thank you.
The other side of the mug it says David Ogilvy has my back also.
Oh, that's
So it's a double,
double-sided mug.
and it's
Yes.
a beautiful mug. It's 20 ounces. I mean, you talk
David
about some
Baldwin size.
serious caffeine.
Serious caffeine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brian, you put that in the store, I'll buy it.
I'd like an option to get my hands on one of those. Yeah.
All right.
They did renew
I
yesterday, by
knew
the
I
way.
shouldn't have opened it up like
Can
that.
of worms.
That was stupid. That was so dumb, Brian. I would love, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I don't know what I'll do here. I don't have, I have one in Florida and one in Connecticut. So I have two of them. If you want to buy one, you can buy one too. They're at Cafe Press. But now that I've given that away, but my offer stands certainly for any boot camper who joins the Titans Accelerator group. I will personally send you one of these mugs. I already added that, Chris, so I'm committed to that at least.
Sounds like a fantastic bonus.
Oh,
I want
and
one.
a stupid move on my part.
No, not stupid. Hey, we were talking about the ad where I was carrying Hank here, and I realized in that ad, I said you get a chance to meet him. So I'm now fulfilling on the promise.
Well, I was
This is
telling the guys at Marigold about how you used, Hank's knees as the example,
yeah,
and they thought that was great. They thought that was, and I said, yeah, I feel like I'm abusing Chris's dog because I'm saying, oh, it's so good that your dog has knee problems, so we can use it as an example. And I didn't mean it that way. But it was such a good example because it was so niche,
yeah.
and yet it expressed everything that we needed to express in the last call about looking for the mass desire and then adapting it.
Yep, and I'll use him in the states of awareness
Teresa says
example
we got to
today
pay
too.
the dog royalties.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. Somebody was that's a Havanese is the breed
I think
of
he's a
dog.
write-off now since he's
Yes.
in your business stuff.
Hey, I could write off the surgery.
Yeah, write off his poop bags, write off everything, his food.
Yep. All righty. So we want to dive in today, and then we'll have plenty of time at the end for questions, either on today's presentation or any of the other ones. And desktop
We want to talk
two.
about the homework if anybody did it and anybody wants to share.
10, 11. Yeah, we can take a few minutes if anybody has anything that they want to share from the homework. Um, no pressure.
No pressure, and if you didn't do it, we're not taking attendance, and we're not checking your homework. Although Chris's homework always gets eaten by his dog, so
That's right. Renee?
Yes, no, I should be unmuted. Hey, so I did have a question, but maybe I did understand something wrong. So, and I tried to, I also looked into the work book that you sell as a PDF when I bought this. So I tried to match the desires to the performance or like the benefit, and I came up with a few ideas. And I think my angle, so as I said, my angle probably won't be the IT side, but like the business side, like helping like e-commerce businesses to like get ready for an exit. And the thing is, then I analyzed a bit more with ChatGPT, and then I tried to figure out then, because that was on one of your sheets from 2 days ago. There was this quote like, depending on how the customers in which state they are, you begin your statement with, I think, either the problem or the desire. I think that also and then I was now I'm a bit confused because I know that like how aware your market is comes in a bit, but who do I go to first? Like if I want to test like some copy now in the Facebook ad to just see what works, would I go to the problem aware people first or to them that already know what they desire, and who do you go to first?
Yeah.
Like because I don't want to start everything at the same time.
Yeah, well, two things on that. You don't want to take anything we've done so far and create an ad out of it because we haven't gone through the whole process. So if you remember that that image where I showed of the elephant and people were touching it's a spear, it's a trunk, like we're still in that that point. So like today, you're going to see how the different states of awareness fit into the work that we've already done. So I don't think you're at the point to say we're going to run ads. We're still kind of halfway through it. So that's the first part. But then the second part of your question of like, who do you target first? Your buyers, I mean, your fastest path to cash or sales, it's always going to be bottom of funnel. So that's your most aware and product aware because they already have some knowledge. But, when you want to start bringing in new people and going up the funnel kind of mid and towards the top. And Gene even says, as we'll talk about today, that solution aware is where, if you're targeting solution aware, that's where you as either the business owner or the copywriter, like you contribute the most to the success of the offer. Because those are people who already know that solutions for their problem exist, and you're trying to figure out a way to come in and show that yours is the best compared to any other alternative, and that gets us into like the unique mechanism of your offer. So that's what we'll talk about today. And then the next part, and this is sort of the last step, is when we get into market sophistication, because you also have to look and see like how competitive is your market, how many ads are your customers seeing, because that all matters when you're talking about putting an ad together.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and I appreciate your eagerness to get going, Renee. That's a good sign because that means you're going to be in action after this boot camp. But yeah, don't jump the gun yet. I agree with Chris, and
Okay.
after going through the stuff with our Facebook advertising folks yesterday, I was looking at they were talking about another client that they have that was on the call. They bring their clients together and they share results, and I saw some of the universes that they were going after. This woman does, home art or something. She, and they were showing like video. Her best ad was a video of her doing the art like in fast motion, and that was the best video on Facebook because it was like people watching her do it, and that's not, that sort of they're looking at the I guess that would be solution aware although at least they weren't aware of her necessarily. They were aware of art, they were aware of becoming artists, but they weren't aware of her. And that's what they landed on. But I don't know if they didn't go through the boot camp, but through the same principles, they got to the right audience. And you don't want to jump the gun on that until you see where the best audience is and also what's available. Some audiences are much tougher to find than others. So that you have to take that into account as well. But yeah,
Okay.
you're on the right track.
Gotham?
Hey, Chris. So I just have a quick question. So once we have our dominant desire, should we still keep the other desires, the other mass desires? Are you ever, like, for example, are you ever testing the other mass desires or ever using those, or is it just the dominant one?
Yeah, you're always testing them.
Yeah.
Because you've got what you think is going to work, and you test it, you get feedback, you iterate, and if it's not working out, or even if it is, and you want to test other angles, then yeah, I think you're always open to going back and kind of drawing up a different play.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'll repeat what I said on the last call. Like, I remember I said that I predicted the results of every campaign I've ever done with 100% accuracy after I have the results.
Yeah.
So I'm being cute, but I just want you to know that everything is always, and then I went to the whole thing about Benson. If you listen back on the last call about Dick Benson, who said no one tests enough. That doesn't mean, you just keep doing it. You got to use your instinct counts, I guess is what I want to say. However, you can get, because of the exercises we've already given you and the ones we're going to give you this call and the next call, you will get to other ways to find it, and you may find something else. But the dominant desire is only the dominant desire for today, or maybe it's forever. It could be the one you may land on it, and it may be it. But you don't have to land on it and have it be it ever. That's the beauty of life. We continue to move on, and we continue to iterate, and we continue to research and dig and ask questions. So yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I get it, because you want to sort of land on something and then roll it out and make a lot of money and do everything. But if life was that easy, but also it can be that easy if you do it the right way, and you'll get to at least a dominant desire at some point.
Perfect. Thank you, Brian.
Nils?
Hey, Chris and Brian went back to the perplexity piece. So you made the comment yesterday that the little toggle at the bottom, and I totally had missed that on the first day. And I thought the results were a little light, and I was like, maybe missing something. But I went back and I was like, holy cow, that is so much better.
Yeah.
The whole cycle went through that was it was a refinement. It had included something else that wasn't core, and then it wasn't in the voice of the customer, but it was kind of a next step, I guess it had assumed. So got back to core on that, and then going through the benefits, features, and then the benefits, and then the benefit of the benefit, and that was just great on the revealing side, because it's just not intuitive to sit there and think about the benefit of the benefit of the benefit, but that's the only thing customers care about. So
that's right.
Good exercise. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And in case anybody missed it, when I shared that perplexity, I mean, any research tool you use, make sure there's usually like a toggle that you want to switch it from its normal like research state to like deep research. So in perplexity, there's just a switch that switch it over to research, and ChatGPT, you click deep research. So definitely make sure that's flipped on when you run that research prompt from the first day. David.
Boy. Now I have to go back and check all that. This was a really cool takeaway. So when I did I speak about this broadly because it could apply to everybody. My mass desire score, number 1 was a 15, and numbers 2 and 3 were 13. So, very close, certainly not enough to discount in terms of the second and third mass desire. When the AI matched those to the product's benefits, it turned out that it was not mass desire number one that won out. The AI actually prioritized mass desire number three. And I challenged it. I said, hey, I noticed that blah, 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 this didn't win out. And he gave me a whole explanation as to why it picked desire number three. So that, and of course I need to go and verify the accuracy and kind of my feeling about all that. But it was really, really cool to see that happen.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is awesome. That's really great. And of course, you don't have to believe it either. You'll test it. It's like, but again, it's the combination of AI with the research, with with your instinct, and it's a package.
Yeah.
Steve Johnson, you mentioned, and then we'll jump into the presentation, but you joined early, and you were saying that you used the prompts to put together like a business proposal for a client as well, which I thought that was a really cool.
I had a deliverable for an account-based marketing plan, and so the prompts gave me the background for for specifically to start thinking about the email campaigns and the SDR scripts to follow up on those. So yeah, it was great foundation that really influenced it in a way that was unexpected and helpful. Really sped it up.
Yeah, appreciate you sharing that. I thought that was a really neat use case. So if you're putting marketing plans together, or want to show a client like this is how I would approach us working together, like these are prompts that can help with that as well. All right, I'm going to share sound. I got a couple videos today. Let's get this going here. Brian, you see my
Yes, I do.
Wonderful. All right. Welcome to call number 3, talking about the states of awareness. This is now the last 2 calls have been in chapter 1. All that was just in chapter 1. So you can kind of get a sense of when people say that this is a not an easy read, it's a dense read, like it's no joke, because there's a lot packed into just those few pages of chapter 1, and now we're finally ready to move to the next phase, which is thinking about the states of awareness that our market is in, and how how we can speak to people based on their understanding of their own desires, their understanding of other products that are like yours or maybe your product. But I want to, because we had the day off yesterday, so I just want to kind of reset the stage to get everybody's frame of mind sort of reset from the last 2 calls. So just a couple quick slides on that, sort of as reminders. So we're always thinking in terms of with our solution of thinking of what is their life like before they make a purchase from us, and then how is it better after. So what's that transformation, and remembering that people, they're looking to purchase the transformation. They want to buy the after image that they see from using, from the performance of your product. And I think that spending the amount of time that you all are just learning this stuff. I can tell you, I've worked with a bunch of different clients, and people don't do this. Like your competitors are probably not taking the amount of time that you are. There's a lot of move fast and break things, throw spaghetti on the wall, see what sticks, and that's definitely a strategy. And I'm not knocking it, because you can have sort of like happy accidents, I guess, from doing that. But there's also something to be said for this process that we're going through of actually, pausing for just a second and thinking about, who is the actual person on the other end that we're trying to serve and help with our offer. and what's the best way to show our value, because we want to do right by them, but we also want to do right by the product that we have, because there's a lot of work that goes into sort of both sides of that. So building your copy assembly line, just kind of show you where we are in that process. So call one, we looked at mass desire. The last call was channeling that desire. Today, we're asking the question, based on what my market knows or doesn't know about their desires or their problems or different solutions, how does that influence the way that we show up in the market? And then our call on Monday, this will be market sophistication, where we look at how does our approach change based on who else is marketing to them. And as a reminder, when we're talking about headlines and getting attention, headlines got one job. We want that headline to stop the prospect and compel them, make a case to read the second sentence, and sort of so on and so forth. Third sentence makes you want to read the fourth sentence. So that's kind of, I think, a really helpful way to think about just copy in general that Gene talks about in the first chapter. And then when we get into chapter 2, what Gene says is, your market state of awareness determine the type of headline you need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the different states of awareness. So we're going to talk about what each one is. I'm going to show you sort of how they line up in a traditional marketing funnel, and then I've got a collection of ads for each state, so you can see examples of what an ad might look like if it's targeting the unaware or product aware, and we can kind of talk and discuss. And I've got a couple videos, video ads too to show you. So we're going to start with the most aware state. So you can think of this as your bottom of funnel people. So the most aware, this is somebody, they know who you are, they know your product, they know everything it does, and they know that they probably eventually want it. So this person is probably on your email list. They're reading your stuff. They just haven't bought it and or purchased from you, or maybe they purchased something smaller, but they haven't purchased like your core sort of hero offer. And we're going to talk about what it is they're waiting for here in just a second, like why that is. And then you've got people who are product aware, and this is somebody, they may or may not be on your email list, but they know who you are. Maybe they follow you on social media, or they watch your YouTube videos, whatever it is, but they know that you have a product. They know a little bit about it, but they just haven't been hooked in enough to really connect your product to their solution, or maybe they don't even realize that they have the problem that you solve. And then solution aware, now we're getting sort of further away from people who know, like, and trust you. So solution aware is somebody that they know that they want the outcome of what your product delivers. So they know they want the performance of it, but they don't know that a product or specifically your product exists. So they're aware that there are solutions, like they're like, if you've got ADHD or something, that's one of the examples I'll show you. If you got ADHD, you know that there are different solutions for ADHD, but maybe you've got something unique to share, and so they don't know about your specific solution. And then even moving further away from people who know, like, and trust you, you've got problem aware. And this person, they know that they have a problem. They just don't have a connection between your product and fulfilling that need. So they don't really know about, who you are, your story. They don't know anything really about your product. They just know that they've got this discomfort in their lives that they identify as a problem, and they want to have it solved. And then on page 21, there's a great little write-up that I recommend that Gene does about, how to introduce products that solve a need. And I forget the specific ad that he goes into, but he breaks down an ad from back in, I think it was the 50s, that addresses the problem aware market. And then lastly, you've got people who are unaware, and this is, very, very top of funnel. Uh, they People who are unaware, they're not conscious or aware of their desire, their need for for what you're solving. They don't know that they don't recognize they have a problem, or they're just not being honest with themselves that they do have a problem. It's kind of cover your ears and la 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 la. They're just not ready to see themselves as needing your solution, or they just haven't defined it well enough. It's like a vague general desire or problem they have, and it's just not painful enough to take their time, or to give their time to. And or yeah, he says it's a secret. Maybe there's some, they don't want to admit to themselves that they suffer from whatever it may be, and they need your help to be able to give words to that. So just real quick, how this sort of breaks out. In a traditional funnel, the bottom of funnel, you've got your most aware, product aware. Once you get into the middle of funnel, that's where you start getting into the solution. Going up, you got your problem, and then the top of funnel is the unaware. And this is a direct quote from the book. Gene says that a headline that works for one state of awareness will not work as well for another state of awareness. So it's not necessarily black and white. It's not saying that it absolutely will not work for another state of awareness, but I think the point that he's making is kind of what we were talking about earlier, is taking the time to really understand not just your audience as a whole, but even the sub niches of your audience based on their own understandings of what they're dealing with in their life, and how the different messages that they need based on that state of awareness to actually see that, oh yeah, this solution can help me. And so he breaks down for us, like, well, how do you do that? How do you get in their heads and show up in a different way that, while everybody else is just throwing spaghetti against the wall, and maybe they get lucky. So
yeah, we had a question, I think it was from Renee on Wednesday. It was from someone about this issue of, going after, I think he was going after two different markets with the same message. And now that we've broken it down into, 5 states of awareness, I'm not saying you have to have 5 versions for everything, but it will help you if you have 5 versions for everything. And the beauty, and I did talk about, the olden days where in direct mail, doing a 5-way split by these kinds of segments was virtually impossible in direct mail. And if it was possible, it'll cost you a fortune. That's not an excuse, That's not an excuse for when you're advertising using email, whether you're advertising in social media or whatever. There's no, I don't want to put it out there as like, I'm pointing my finger and scold anybody here, but there's no excuse really for not having different headlines and promotions and sales letters for different states of awareness. And when we get into, levels of sophistication and you combine them, it gets even more complex. But it's not a matrix that where you're going to have 80 versions either. But, 80 is a lot more than 5, and the idea of having 5 versions of anything in an email, I don't think that's cumbersome. I think it's called targeting. It's called segmentation. It's called, writing message to list. And a list is not, this monolithic thing. It's not a homogeneous thing. It's just not. And I'll tell you, that was the thing that, as someone who's lived through from the Jurassic period to today, it was the thing that blew me away as we got into email and social media was the expansiveness of being able to do different creatives for different segments. It sounds simple to the people on this call that do it every day, but think about if you came from where I came from, and some of the people on this call might have come from of a world of direct mail where you did have to have more one size fits all marketing, it became explosive for me personally. And I will go to my grave talking about this because it's probably the single most important thing you can do with your marketing.
Yeah, great point. And what I want to do now is, we kind of got an understanding of what the different states are. And I'm gonna show you what Gene has to say in the book. I think I've got page numbers on these too, so you can go back and read it yourself. But then we'll look at what he says, and then I'll show you ads that these are just ads that get served to me. And I think because we've done these boot camps so much, and I've become just so familiar with the text. Like I have this huge collection of ads because I see something, I'm like, oh, that's a problem aware, and I'll snag it, and I've got way too many ads to fit into a presentation. But so I'm excited to share a couple new ones with you. So I always look forward to this one because I'm like, oh yeah, I got to go through my camera roll and look at things that I've screenshot or done screen recordings on. So let's dive into that. And the way we're going to go through this, we're going to work from the bottom up. So we're going to start with, how do you sell to people who are most aware, and then move up from there. So it's kind of going from easy to more difficult is the way we're going to go. So this is bottom of funnel. This is directly from the book. So somebody who is most aware of this, you can think of this person that they actually want to buy your product. They just haven't gotten around to it yet. And this line makes me think of, John Carlton, who's going to be on the Titans Accelerator call next week, where he's described, like, when he's writing a promotion, like picture this large, obese slob sitting on a couch, and your job is to get that person to move and make a decision to order, to purchase your product. And I don't mean that literally, it's definitely figuratively, but that's sort of what you're doing, is you're just trying to get somebody to move. And sometimes it feels like you're trying to move a mountain, but
John meant it literally, by the way.
Yeah, he probably did. Yeah, he's braver and than I am. So here, for somebody who knows your story, they know, like, and trust you. The creative doesn't have a huge lift. And I mean, it doesn't mean that if you've got amazing creative that it's not going to work at this level, but this is where you can get some sales on pretty, C or even B level copy. And so really what they're looking for is, what's the product, and can you give me a bargain? These are a lot of times people who are not going to buy, they're just waiting for it to come across cheaper. And that runs the danger. You certainly don't want to train your audience to be constantly waiting on discounts. Where I try to go with this audience is, instead of discounting, I'll add bonuses. So we're not lowering the price. We're just saying, hey, for this limited time, you're going to get these extra bonuses. And so I think that kind of works in the same in the same way in some respect. But price is the most important part of the headline. And I guess going back to what I was saying just a second ago about the bonuses, perceived value. So if the price doesn't change, but the perceived value increases, I think that's similar to what he's saying. So these are ads that we've all seen. These are definitely like in the retargeting. You look at a product, you're thinking about buying it, then you leave, and then you start seeing retargeting ads, and they're just trying to get you to come back. So, here's a simple ad. This is probably a shirt I was looking at a while back, and I just started seeing these ads. But this is, just really, really basic. Again, to this Fabletics, Kevin Hart's company, two shorts for $24, and their back end is they've got a membership that they want to sell you into. That's an annual thing. But this is how they're getting people in through their front end offer. So there's not a whole lot to say. I don't feel on the most aware. It's pretty straightforward. It's, what can you do to move somebody to make a purchase? You don't have to retell your story, anything like that. As we start to move up and we get to people who are product aware, these are folks who they may or may not be on your list, but they know your product. They know you. They have an awareness about, maybe they've seen testimonials. They just haven't made a purchase yet. The customer knows your product. They just don't want it yet. And Gene says that this is actually where the bulk of all advertising is spent. We make people aware of our product, and then it's just a kind of this constant grind and coming up with ideas of, hey, you saw it, but you didn't like it. Would you like it if I talked about it this way, or maybe this discount or this bonus? So we're just trying to get people, kind of off the dime and to make a decision. And he breaks down sort of the job of your headline for the product aware. And it's not that it has to do all of these things, but it's just a helpful way to think about what you're trying to do. So, your headline, and these are like approaches for coming up with the different types of headlines that you would want to run to this audience. And again, it's going to work for other states as well. But reinforcing, like, how can I reinforce somebody's desire for my product? So maybe this is testimonials, or doing a better job of really explaining what that benefit looks like and how it shows up in their life. So making it more tangible. You can sharpen the image of the way that the product satisfies the desire. You can extend the image of where and when the product satisfies the desire. So maybe they're just thinking they're going to use it in this one instance, but you want to help them see that, well, no, this can actually improve your life outside of your home or outside of your work. And I've got an ad that shows this here in a second as well. Maybe you introduce, new proof, new documentation. Maybe there's a new study that supports something, an ingredient about your health supplement or something like that. But you're just introducing more information, show new proof, new details, documentation on how your product solves the desire. You can even announce a new mechanism to show that the product has this special way of working that is unique in the way that it addresses the problem that people are facing in their lives. And then that this new mechanism can also eliminate former limitations, or to completely change the image of the mechanism of that product in order to remove it from the competition of other products claiming to satisfy the desire. And I've got this is a breakdown on page 17, and again, it's not saying that the headline has to do all of these things. He's just trying to give you ideas of how you can move people forward. So let's look at some ads that kind of fit in this area. So this is an ad for a hand sanitizer, and it's a well-known product. It's a commoditized product, and what's really solid about this ad, I think, especially going back to those tasks. I think this does a really good job of extending the image of where and when the product satisfies the desire, and it sharpens the image of the way that it satisfies the desire. So it's showing that hey, there are a lot of places that you visit in your life during the day where you're constantly touching things that others have touched. These people probably don't share your commitment to cleanliness. You can see on the one hand, there's a Band-Aid. So it's kind of a gross thing. So, if you're somebody that takes the bus or public transportation regularly, you're hanging onto those handles. You're not really thinking about, who else hung onto these same handles and where their hands were. So I thought this was a really, pretty simple, but powerful ad, that kind of speaks to what Gene is talking about. This is an ad. This was a retargeting ad. So I was doing some shopping just for some t-shirts, and I didn't buy from these people, but I thought it was a nice ad because they were trying to separate themselves from other t-shirt companies by letting me know that, hey, sizes are dumb, and what's unique about our shirt is that it's actually based on the fit. So like we've got so you go and like you fill out this quiz, and they actually it's got this feeling of being fitted for a t-shirt that's custom to you. So I thought that was a clever way that they were trying to differentiate themselves for somebody who's looking for t-shirts that don't feel super baggy and that are going to fit to sort of it has a uniqueness to it. That's going to fit to your unique body. This is a great ad, I think, of just kind of showing where else, like extending where and when you're going to experience the benefit of the product. So I was doing some shopping for like backyard fire pits. I was looking at solo stoves, and so I immediately start seeing ads for this. And what's cool about this image is, it's showing sort of the end result. So if you're wanting to put a fire pit in your backyard, like you're doing that because you've got in your mind like, oh, it'd be great to have people over, maybe have the kids out, we can roast marshmallows. So you see this image and that ring of warmth sort of around to show like this warmth is going to radiate and everybody's going to be nice and cozy. Oh, by the way, it's smokeless, so you're not going to get smoke in your eyes. And they're just sharing a testimonial. So here's proof. Luke B, this is the best backyard feature I've ever purchased. And again, this will work as a retargeting ad. I think probably the best once somebody has seen your product and maybe decided not to buy. But this could also, I would look at this and think, well, I would use this testimonial in an email. And I would try to communicate, how maybe I would talk about most like the Solo Stove. If I could find, what's the heat radius of the Solo Stove, and maybe it's only 4 feet. And this one is different because of a special way that we built this Brio, and it's double the warmth radius, so maybe that would be a way that I would talk about it. It's warm, it keeps people warm up to 8 feet from around. So I'm making that up, but that would be sort of the way that I would be thinking if I was selling a product like this, trying to get somebody who's aware of my product to make a purchase. Now, solution aware, this is where it starts getting kind of fun and interesting. Because now you're moving to people who they don't really know your story. They're not really familiar with your product. And it gets a little tougher to sell to the solution aware. So what Gene says is, you've got somebody that they know they want what the product does, but they don't yet know that a product exists for their specific issue. So he says here the problem is twofold. So first, you've got to pinpoint this poorly defined mass desire for the prospect. You got to do it for them, and then you got to crystallize it in its solution so dramatically that the prospect recognizes it at first glance. And he gives us 3 steps to solving this problem. So headlines for solution aware. Sort of the process here is you name the desire and the solution in your headline. Then you want to prove that the solution that you just named can be accomplished, and then show the mechanism of that accomplishment, show that it's contained inside your product. So this is really where we start thinking a little more deeply about the unique mechanism of the product. And I know there are others. Gene doesn't talk about this, but I think it's an interesting take on it. I think Stephen Georgi talks about this. There's also thinking about the unique mechanism of the problem that somebody experiences. That can also be a helpful way to go about this. But Gene's talking about, what makes your product or your offer unique in the way that it works, so that when it's compared to a competitor, well, they don't have this special ingredient, or they don't have this special way that the product does, X, Y, and Z that yours does. And I always like to call this out on page 20. It's kind of a throwaway line. it goes by quickly, but he says, at this state of awareness, solution aware, the copywriter contributes more and more to the value of the product in the public eye and to its total volume of sales. He says, here the innovator comes into play. So the ratio of salary of copywriter to production supervisor shoots up abruptly. For this is the domain of the idea man. And so I like to call this out, especially for anybody who is doing, freelance work, working with clients. Like if you really want to go in and have sort of produce sort of the biggest results, this is where we as marketers can serve our clients and have the biggest lift for our clients the most by focusing on this state of awareness. It's a little colder of an audience. It's not as easy, I guess, as the last two we talked about. But I think this is like a good sort of guidepost that Gene put in here. So I always like to share that in the boot camp. So let's look at a few ads that are solution aware, and this one is actually it's a B2B ad, and I don't have this. May be the only B2B ad that I have, but this is a product for people who suffer for foot ulcers, but it's targeting healthcare providers, and it's saying we're going to help reduce severe and costly diabetic foot ulcers. So it's specifically to people who have foot ulcers from diabetes. And you don't really know what this product is, but you see that this person is standing on this mat. And so it's like, what is that all about? Like if you're a healthcare provider, you may or may not know about like what this solution is. Maybe you've got one way or one or two ways that are, FDA approved or whatever that treat foot ulcers. And then you see this ad for this mat. It makes it kind of hints at maybe this is an easier solution for somebody, and it may be that it only works in early stages. So it's like preventative in a way. But if you've got patients and they're suffering from foot ulcers, and that not every treatment that you prescribe works, then this is sort of hinting at this new way of solving a problem, and maybe there's some mechanism inside of the specific way that this mat works. And so, the call to action there is get a free demo. I don't know that's probably not what I would do as a call to action. I'd want more of like, let me tell you some success stories. So hopefully clicking through to this leads to a little more information on sort of the uniqueness of the product. But, these guys didn't hire me. I just saw their ad. And then this next one is a new one. I think this is a super cool ad. I'm gonna play this for you. But this is speaking to somebody who has ADHD or neurodivergence is sort of the newer term being used. That's a little more all encompassing for folks. But if you either self-diagnose as you're like, I've got ADHD, or like my brain doesn't work the same way that other people do, you're probably familiar with sort of the traditional solutions that are out there, for attention deficit disorder. You know that there's probably, Ritalin is an option. There's Cotempla. There are all these prescriptions out there that you can take, but maybe you're like, I don't know if I really need to take synthetic chemicals and put those in my body. And maybe you're just against that, or you're just like, I don't think I need a prescription for this, but I definitely feel like I have some form of ADHD. But what they do is you're scrolling through, I think this was on this is on Facebook. It plays this tone, and it just invites you to pause for 30 seconds and just listen to this tone, and then see if your brain sort of settles down, so you can kind of prove it to yourself. So this would be called an involvement device. And then on the next call, we've got a video we're going to share from Paris Lampropoulos, where he talks about an involvement device that he did that really bombed, and he goes into why it bombed. So I won't ruin that, but I want to show this video and let you guys experience it. Just give me a second to pull this guy over. Turn the volume up. All right, so here we go. So real simple, there's a uniqueness to this. Maybe you felt something as you listened to that, maybe you didn't. There is such a thing as, kind of, what's the, I forget the phrase. It's not cognitive bias, but it's, you can convince yourself of things that maybe aren't even real. But this shows up as it's just a different approach, and it doesn't cost any money. You didn't have to go to the drugstore to get prescriptions. Like, they're offering, like, let's see if it works for you right here, right now. And if that sort of felt soothing, or you felt your brain calming, then you're probably going to go check out this Endel, and it's talking like, what is 852 hertz? Like, what are you talking about? And so I thought, so there's a little bit of unique mechanism in this as well. So I thought that was a really cool way to go about selling a solution for ADHD. And what you'll find is, if you go check out Endel, and this is not a commercial for them, but they've got different tones and sounds for a whole host of conditions, and not just ADHD, but they've got these different sounds that you can play while you're working if you really want to focus in your writing, or if you want to relax at the end of the day. There's a different set, so it's got this unique quality to it. And then the last one is this ad for a pair of socks. And the unique mechanism that they're showcasing here is that these are socks that never get holes in them. And the way that they prove that, this is actually a video, I don't have it to show you, but the way they prove that is they put a sock on this mannequin and hang it out of a car, and then just drive it and drag the sock around the parking lot for a little bit, scraping it on the asphalt. And then at the end, they show the sock that's been drug around the parking lot, and there's no holes. So they make the claim, and then say that it lasts forever, and then they prove it to you. So it's pretty straightforward. If you're somebody that's, kind of tired of buying cheap socks that get holes in them, and you might be interested in a pair like this. So those are some examples of ways that the different companies are, targeting people that they know that there are solutions, but they don't know about your specific solution, and you have to show them why your solution is better than any other alternative. And you do that by making claims, proving those claims, and then thinking about how to showcase the specific way that your product works, and that's explaining the unique mechanism behind how your product gets the result that you're claiming it does. So for problem aware, moving up the funnel here, so this is somebody, they know, they're aware of their problem, but they don't recognize the connection between fulfilling their need or their product. And guys, there's definitely overlap between these states. So don't think of it as like cut and dry, like, oh, this is my solution aware audience. I mean, you've got, I would say you probably got like a spectrum. Some people are probably more solution aware than others. But I think of it as like there's definitely some overlap, especially between problem and solution aware. But these are people that they definitely know they've got a problem. They just haven't, done any kind of research or anything, and they don't know a ton of the options available for solutions. And Gene says this is somebody that they need a problem solving ad. And what he recommends is you begin by naming the need, because that's what they know. They know they have a need. They know they have a problem. And you name the solution in your headline, and then you dramatize that need so vividly that the prospect realizes how badly he or she needs the solution. And then obviously your product is the inevitable solution. So I'm going to show you a few ads that I think do a good job of this. This is one that is connecting childhood trauma to procrastination. So a lot of us are probably have our own awareness of our problem, that maybe we procrastinate more than we want to, and you could even have sort of that inner monologue going on of like, God, man, what's wrong with me? Why do I put things off to the last minute? And it feels like, well, how do you stop that besides just not doing it? So it's like, I don't know of a solution. But what's interesting here is that if you can see at the top, it says procrastination is not laziness. So maybe that's an inner monologue I've had where, man, am I just lazy? Like, is this why I keep putting things off? And then the question is procrastination affecting your life? But what they're doing is they're saying, hey, maybe the reason that you are procrastinating so much, it really has to do with some childhood trauma from your past that you've never dealt with. And it says, procrastination isn't just something we're doing because we're bored. Once you learn the simple truth of where it comes from and why you do it, it dissolves almost instantly. So they're offering, a solution, but the path to that solution is through their unique mechanism, their unique process of, hey, let's deal with this childhood trauma, because that's going to free you from this procrastination that you're dealing with. Another ad. This is for a VO2 max enhancer. So if you're into any kind of endurance training or anything like that, your VO2 max is something that you're familiar with, and you know that if you can increase that VO2 max, that you can perform whether it's running or cycling or whatever, you can perform for longer without getting tired. But also, as more and more people are becoming aware of biohacking and longevity, you've got things like Brian Johnson and Dr. Peter Attia. They're talking, Andrew Huberman, they're talking more about longevity. Part of what they also are introducing into the global conversation is that improving your VO2 max is like this really powerful way to also increase your longevity. So it's not just if you're an endurance athlete, although this kind of speaks to an endurance athlete, but even if you're just kind of getting into biohacking. And Dr. Peter Attia talks about doing zone 2 cardio 2 or 3 days a week, and then 1 day a week you want to do zone 5 to increase your VO2 max. And so what this is showing is that there's a product that will help you improve and increase your VO2 max that doesn't involve having to do hill sprints 1 day a week, or it's doing the hill sprints with this product. So I don't think they're decoupling necessarily doing the work, but they're saying that you can get to a higher VO2 max faster by using this product. So I haven't used this. I'm not making any claims, but I saw this ad come up, and it seemed like a really good a good ad targeting somebody who was problem aware. This ad is targeting men who are on the maybe on the shorter side of things. So if you're 5'8" or shorter, then you're aware that most clothes they're kind of built around 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot male models, and so they're not going to fit you as well as they are those models. And so this is a clothing company specifically made for people who are 5'8" and shorter. And so if you watch this video, this guy is showing you how the waistline fits correctly. The shirts aren't too baggy. They're not too long. It's a problem that this market faces. And they're giving a name to it. So like, if you deal with this, like if you're 5'8" or shorter, there's not a lot of people who really care about your challenges with finding clothing that fit. So it can feel like a relief to like, oh wow, there's a whole company that thinks about the issues that I have finding good fitting clothing. And it's like, oh wow, amazing that I found you. So, and I'm sure they have competitors too, especially if they're making sales. So those are examples of problem aware. We're going to get into unaware, and this is top of funnel. This is the most difficult, and you'll see why in a second. So somebody at this state of awareness, they're not aware of their desire, or they're not going to honestly admit it without being led into it by your ad or your email or your article or YouTube video. So this is just like top of funnel, how people come into contact with you and your message. And Gene says that sometimes the desire or need is a secret that can't be verbalized. And you can kind of think back to that first exercise on the first day of like, what is it that they can't tell you? So these are folks that are logical prospects for your product, but they're 1,000 miles away from being in a place where they can accept it. And so what we have to do is bridge the gap for them. And there's a specific way to do this that we'll talk about now. So the way that we do that is we're not going out to sell to this person. So we're not talking about price or price reduction in the headline, because Gene says that price means nothing to a person who doesn't know or want your product. And we're not even mentioning the name of the product. So your product's name means nothing to a person who's never seen it. And he applies this to brand logos as well. So they just don't care. And he says, we're not talking about features or benefits or a desire your product satisfies, because you're facing somebody that's just completely indifferent. And so if you find yourself thinking, okay, so if I can't talk about price, can't talk about product or function or desire, what do I do? Where do I begin? And I think you'll appreciate this, is that we go back to the market. We begin with the market. And this is the process. So what you want to focus your headline around is calling your market together through identification. So you're not selling anything, you're not making promises, but what you're doing is you're echoing this emotion or dissatisfaction that picks the right people out of the crowd and binds them to your statement. So these are people that when they see a headline about showing up in life or work a certain way, they're like, oh yeah, that's me. I'm an organized person. I'm a creative person. I'm a conservative. I'm a Democrat. Like it's identification, and they're self-selecting. So in this type of headline, you're telling them what they are. And these type of headlines just sell the rest of the ad, right? They don't sell anything else. And these are just some ideas that Gene gives us on how to think about this. So what am I trying to do when I'm using identification at top of funnel? And I've got some ads after this that I'm going to show you. So you can give words to a hidden dream. Maybe there's a hidden fear that you can exploit. You're going to lead them into an unacceptable problem by starting with a universally accepted image. Project a hidden desire that they just can't put into words. Use a common resentment to capture a larger portion of the market. So you can think about, what are you for? What are you against? Can you throw rocks at a common enemy? And just by virtue of doing that, they're going to be like, oh, I don't like that enemy either. So we at least have that in common. That's identification. It's bringing people together. Project the result of an accomplishment to attract people who would be frightened away by the work that's required to achieve it. And there's more. I just plucked a few of these out that I thought were helpful. But on page 26, he gives even more bullet points of how you can write for the unaware. But what I want to do is show you some ads that they're all top of funnel ads, and they're all using identification. In this first one, I'm going to have a video to show you. But this is a really cool coffee company. I started seeing their ads less than a year ago. And our coffee is not for everyone. It's made for the bold. and they've got a whole, and you can even see the hand, like it looks like somebody who works on a ranch. So this is appealing to a certain type of person. This is identification at play. And I want to show you this video real quick, because their whole brand is like this. This guy here. So this is a video ad that I saw them run. So I hope you guys see that, like, there was no selling in that. There was no, buy one, get one free. It was just pure identification of, like, these are the kind of people that drink our coffee. And if you sort of are into this sort of lifestyle, if you see yourself in this video, like, be like these people, drink our coffee. And then Juniper Mountain, and then there probably is a link to go check it out in that video ad, I would imagine. So I thought that was a really strong example of using identification to just pluck people out of a crowd. Because if you're not into that, if you're not into camping, sort of that rugged lifestyle, or you like to dream that deep down you are in that rugged lifestyle while you drive into your corporate cubicle job. This can actually feel like an escape. So you can feel like you're connecting to that inner identity while you drink your coffee driving into work. So that's a Juniper video. This is another one that's obviously speaking to a specific type of person. It's a conservative, I think it's conservative, conservative radio network. So you can just see the image they're using. So it's a farmer, next leaning up against an old truck. And, here's a quote. I stopped watching the news years ago. So sick of the bias everywhere. I turned to 1440 to give it a try. Unbiased news source for families like us, right? So families like us. And, it's not saying what families like us, what that is, but it's communicating, but it is saying it because of the image they're using, and sort of the complaints that it's bringing to light. It's saying, I'm tired of the bias everywhere. So this is just using identification to bring people into your product and your offer. And then the last one, this is an older one, but I love this headline: to men who want to quit work someday. When you think that's everybody, like, if you're working a traditional job, like, yeah, I want to retire. Even though, for us as entrepreneurs, we probably think about it, retirement, differently. As Brian says, it's retiring from the people you don't want to be around anymore and the things that you don't do well or you don't want to do. So it doesn't necessarily for us mean working for them, but for the most of the population, they want to get the gold watch or, whatever, and they want to, do nothing in retirement. So what this is really selling, you send off for some information for a retirement income plan. Ultimately, this is I believe it's a life insurance policy or annuity, so that you have this guaranteed income in retirement. But this ad, I think this started running like in the 30s or 40s. It's still running today, updated versions. So if you were to go and search, like, this ad, this headline is still running with and you can find it with updated imagery and everything. So it's a powerful identification tool that just plucks people out, and obviously for it to be working for decades is still performing well. And so I put everything into this little table for you. You guys will get this. I'll share the Google Doc to this as well, but just to sort of have at a real high level about what each state or what each level of awareness, what it is, like what we know about that person, and then what your headline needs to do. And so at this point, we start thinking about, well, how do we actually start to use this information as we think about our own product and offer? Like, how do you how take what we've done with the mass desire, dominant desire, channeling the desire? Now we've got states of awareness. In each one of these calls is sort of like, another layer of the onion. So we're just kind of peeling back this this understanding of who we're serving, understanding of how our product is unique when compared to other alternatives. And one of the things that it was on a Titans Accelerator call, we were talking about the states of awareness, and I don't remember who it was, but I wrote this down, and he said, when he's writing copy, he tries to think about at each state of awareness that people are asking themselves, like they've got different questions running through their head, related or even unrelated to your your product. And I'll break this down here in a second so you can see what I'm talking about. But for now, like, just accept and understand that the questions that they're asking themselves about how to solve a specific problem, those are different questions if they don't know that there are solutions that exist, or they don't know that your specific product exists. So they're vague, and by understanding like what these questions are at each state, then it'll start to open up the door for us to see, like, how can we create copy and content and marketing and ads that speak to answering those questions. You can also think of them as objectives, but it's speaking to them directly where they are instead of maybe where we would want them to be. And so this gets into our worksheet, and I've got a prompt to share with you as well. But this is sort of how it works. So if we just go with this air purifier, for example, and this starts with most aware on the left and goes up to unaware. So somebody who is most aware, and I put this here of like, what is the state of mind that somebody is in at their most aware? And we're trying to tie it back to this product that we're going to sell. So they know about your product, right? These are the people on your email list. So they're thinking like, what's the least expensive air purifier that does the best job? Somebody who's, product aware, they might say, how much space can an air purifier really clean? Is it worth it? If somebody gets up to solution aware, like, I know that there are air purifiers out there, I just don't know which one's the best. So maybe they see an ad that talks about a unique mechanism, ultraviolet cleaning. So you can think too, like, these are things that they would put into Google to do their research. So is ultraviolet cleaning a better long-term way to keep the air in my home clean? Problem aware, all right, I know I want to clean the air I breathe, right? So that's sort of their state of mind. So the problem aware, I feel congested at home, but not at work. Why is that? So I've got this problem. I'm sneezing at home, but I'm okay at work. Like, what's going on? So then they start their researching. Unaware. This is somebody, and this goes to identification. So I value my health, my family's health. So maybe somebody will be open to this idea of like, okay, exercise and health are important to me. Besides doing cardio, how else can I improve my cardiovascular health? Right. So they're not looking for an air purifier, but maybe they share a commitment to improving their health, and specifically their cardiovascular health. So maybe they need something to help connect the dots between using an air purifier and how it can improve maybe their output in the gym or cardiovascular health. And then here's examples for breakthrough advertising. How much is breakthrough advertising? Where can I buy it? I know about breakthrough advertising. Is it really worth the money? Why is it so expensive? These are the questions they're asking. Solution aware. So I know about copywriting courses. So what are the best books to help me become more persuasive in my marketing? Problem aware. I know I need to improve my copywriting. How can I become a better copywriter? How can I become a better marketer? How can I start a business on the side while working in my day job? So they're just asking different questions at each state. And then I know that products don't sell themselves, so I need good marketing. So I think of marketing as branding. For unaware, what can I do to improve my marketing skills? They don't yet know about copywriting, so they've got a different understanding of what marketing is. How can I come up with marketing ideas? I have an idea for a product. I want to start a business. How do I sell a product? So this is the work that we're going to do together in our assignment. And then I'll show you what ChatGPT did for my non-surgical ACL product that I'm working on. So we're going to set a timer, 10 minutes, and you're just going to start going through that worksheet that I'll give you here in a second, and just start brainstorming what those questions are. And I like to think about it of literally like what somebody might type into Google at each state, and then use the awareness level worksheet, and then ask ChatGPT to help. So this is the prompt, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but as with any prompt, you're telling the AI like how you want it to act. Help me generate rural questions my audience would search or ask for at each level of awareness. You're going to provide the inputs, so it's going to come back and ask you, tell me about your product, your niche, brief description, and then it's going to put these questions into a table. So let me show you what that looked like for old Hank here. All right, so there's the prompt. Got it here, and because I'd already been talking with it, it already knew this information. So if it didn't know, it would ask me for this stuff. So it's saying, hey, this is what we've said before. Can you confirm that this is still accurate? So I'm saying, yeah, that's correct. Perfect. And then it starts spitting out these questions. So again, this is my non-surgical ACL heal at home product idea. So somebody who's completely unaware, maybe they see their dog limping. They're like, hey, what's going on with my dog's back leg? My dog's slowing down. Could something be wrong with his leg? What are signs of a leg injury in dogs? As we get to problem aware, so this now becomes somebody who, knows or understands like, hey, I think my dog's got an ACL injury. So it's getting more specific. So what can I do if my dog tore their ACL, but I can't afford surgery? Can you think of marketing angles to answer that question? I can. How long can a dog live with a torn ACL without surgery? Is it cruel to skip surgery for a torn ACL in dogs? People who are solution aware. Are there alternatives to dog ACL surgery that actually work? Do knee braces and supplements help dogs heal from ACL injuries? What's the best at-home treatment option for a dog with ACL injuries? Then we move into product aware. So the product that I'm thinking of is called Heal at Home. So they may come into contact and they say, hey, is Heal at Home a legit guide for healing my dog's ACL without surgery? What's included in the Heal at Home ebook? Does the protocol really work? Most aware. Where can I buy this recovery guide? How fast will I get the guide after I purchase it? So their frame of mind is changing. You can see how the questions change. Can I start the 4-week protocol today? And what I would do, this just spits out this many questions, but you could even go back and say, okay, give me more questions, like give me 10 more questions. Because this is not just like these are questions not just to generate ideas for ads and headlines, but this is also like your content strategy. These are videos that you can make, and these are emails that you can write to your list, and social media posts, tweet threads, whatever it is, wherever it is that you're online. And then of course it's going to say, hey, do you want to go one step further and turn this into a content strategy where I map these questions? If I was doing this right now, I'd probably say, yeah, let's see what that looks like. But just for purposes of this exercise, I want to keep the scope limited, but I definitely encourage you to keep playing around with it. So that's the assignment. That's the prompt. That's the presentation for today. Let me get you guys the links to all these. And I see some hands raised, so I'm going to stop sharing. And we can chat.
Nice job, Chris.
Thank you. Theo, welcome back, man.
What's up,
Hey
dude?
Theo, how you doing?
Doing great. Yeah, I this is phenomenal. There's a lot of new information in this course compared to the last one, so it's really good.
See, I told you it'd be the best one ever.
It is, yeah. Um, so I had a question, Chris. So there's regarding the product aware audience. So they know the product, but they do not yet want it. In the supplement world, could that count for a product class? So say there's trace minerals or sleep supplements, right?
Hmm.
If they are aware that a category of sleep supplements exists, but they're not aware of yours, do they still count as a product aware, or are we moving into more solution aware?
Yeah, I think the key difference there is that product aware, they know about your product.
Okay, so that is a important distinction.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. So yeah, because on my list, they're the most aware, right? And then product aware is somebody on my list that has seen the marketing for my product but hasn't bought it. Okay, and then
Yeah.
so I am firmly slotted in the solution aware category because that's where the unique mechanism comes in, which is
And
how
that happens
most.
a lot with supplements, because so many supplements can be perceived as commodities. And so how do you make it a specialty? And
Unique mechanism.
a unique mechanism, unique
Yep.
ingredient.
Yep.
We talked about that
The
yesterday.
cave in Africa, where yeah.
Exactly, the caves in Africa. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
no, I wrote that down. I mean, it's great. So that all slots into the solution aware category. Okay. Because I think that's where most supplements are sold.
What is your hero product? What is your hero supplement?
It's a trace mineral
But
supplement, humic and
it's the
fulvic.
minerals that are available everywhere.
No, I've been selling it for 5 years and it's working. But
Okay.
when I did the last boot camp, I wrote a completely new hook and copy based on what I learned in the boot camp, and it's really good. I'm doing this one just to finish it off, and so I can test it. And
We
then
gotta
the
get you gotta get a testimonial from you on that.
I know, oh yeah, I'm happy to provide one. I'll
Yeah,
send one to you
definitely. I mean
guys.
that's what this boot camp's all about. That's great. I'm so
Oh
happy.
yeah, it's I wrote the whole thing. It's awesome. And then the final question was now another distinction. We need to map these to your traffic sources as well, obviously. So, if I'm, let's say I've got like a tribal niche health affiliate, they're probably going to be product aware or at least aware. But if I'm going straight cold traffic and paid media, then I've got to write an ad for like a problem aware or potentially even unaware.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah. So you've got to map all those variables. Okay. Yeah. So it's all cool.
Yeah, I mean the thing is like in I've been learning a lot more, and I'm not an expert at all, and I'm not an expert in almost anything, but I learned. So I'm learning a lot more about particularly Facebook with our new person, and it's interesting because the lookalike audiences and the audiences that they can select, it's not ideal, obviously,
Right.
but all of a sudden it's still cold traffic, but you want to like put some warmer in there somehow, you know what I mean? And I'm not telling you what you don't know here, but I just want you to be aware that, there's cold and frigid, I guess.
Yes.
Um, and so I just, I wrote a blog post once that said, don't play in traffic. And it was all about, and it wasn't like putting down, going after cold traffic because you need new customers from new sources all the time.
Right.
But it's always like, and Chris, it's intentional that Chris started at bottom of funnel because that's where and it's not just low hanging fruit. It's where the juiciest fruit is. It's
That's
where
right.
everything is because those are the multi buyers. Those are the recent, frequent, high ticket buyers, recency,
That's
frequency,
right.
monetary. So I'm not saying focus more on that, but that's where the money's going to get made. Now, you
Absolutely.
still need to get new customers. So I really appreciate what you're talking about in terms of how you're going to go about, going on what you're calling cold audiences. But I think you can use a lot, and you're very creative, I can tell. So use your creativity to kind of warm them up in some way so that you can then adjust your copy based on what they know. They're not going to know you. They're probably not going to know your product. But you know what? If you can get people who, understand just minerals in general, I don't know if you can get that kind of an audience, but at least give them a clue,
Yep. I love it. Yeah. No, thank you. This is great. This is, I mean, yeah, this is all I needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
But take more.
Thanks to you.
Take more.
Appreciate it.
Chris.
Chris, in your air purifier example, when someone is solution aware, have they landed on the category or are they still weighing other solutions? So like if I want to breathe cleaner air, I can get an air purifier or I might get a new Swiffer.
Yeah, and this is the way I think about it. Is that I know that these types, they're aware of the categories. I know that these types of solutions exist. So they have that awareness of that solutions are out there, but then it's like, well, which one is the best? So that's where it gets like in the air purifier of like, well, we clean the air with this ultraviolet light instead of just filters. So that's the unique mechanism. So that makes our solution the best. But that's how I think about it.
Okay. So then when someone is product aware, then they know your product, but are they also comparing other products of the same category in that stage?
Yeah. So solution aware is they don't know about your product. They just know that they have this general idea that that these types of solutions exist. So I know there are a bunch of I know people use air purifiers. I don't know anything about air purifiers. Now I'm product aware. Oh, I know about this. Maybe I know about these one or two. These seem to be the lead air purifiers.
Okay. And in that stage, are you saying back to the solution where you go, okay, between us and them, you're product aware, we use UV, they don't.
Yeah.
Like it can go both. You can do that in either stage of awareness.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for the clarity.
Niels?
Yeah. Hey, Chris, thanks. This was awesome. You made a comment about and more at the aware or unaware stage about calling out a common enemy. Yeah. And I was curious if that's just something at that unaware stage or if that's something you could use throughout the whole stage. I'm thinking of like, the Allstate ads, the mayhem personification, have Allstate.
Yeah, I think you can use it. I mean, you can use any of these at all states. I mean, even identification, you could do that to, product aware or solution aware, because that's a powerful technique.
Yeah, that's a universal. That's really shrewd of you to mention that, Nils, because the villain, there's always a villain. And you don't have to call them out by name. I mean, that gets a little dangerous if you're calling out like a competitor or a real company. But you can do it without calling them out. And I think Chris did talk about, the research in your competition, and that will bring out, the more that you research what your competition has, doesn't have, that creates villains. I mean, I remember one of my favorite promotions that we ever did at Boardroom was for a book called The Big Black Book. And it was this 500-page, like encyclopedic, consumer tips on all topics. And the copywriter came up with, and this went to cold audiences, and he came up with this amazing lead. It became a control, and it was a big success. And the headline was, I think it was 12 Smiling Swindlers was the big headline on a Magalog. And anybody who knows the history of Boardroom probably remembers this package written by Eric Betwell. And the swindlers were your accountant, your car repairman, your lawyer. Like, the villains don't have to be like specific to your industry either. So, I mean, we were selling a broad-based book for $39. So it's not a good example for everybody, but calling out the villains is always in fashion within context. You don't want to, it's sort of like, when, I'm not getting political here at all, but, you have a lot of, in the political sphere, it's like when they say the Democrats, their only argument is anti-Trump. It's the same kind of thing. That's boring.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying, and those of you who want to put down Trump or love Trump, it doesn't matter. I just think it's boring for marketing copy. It's
Yeah.
probably boring in general, but so you really want to have the more specific the villain, not by company, but by what they do and what they do that you're never going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have the big black book, you will never make this legal mistake again because it's what your lawyer won't tell you kind of thing. I mean, that was a big premise, and you can use that one anytime. What your blank doesn't tell you. I mean, I'm not saying Boardroom invented that, but we came pretty close to being one of the first to use that. And you see it everywhere now.
Yeah.
What your doctor doesn't want you to know, what your doctor doesn't tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the tip of the iceberg on the villain. So I'm off on a tangent here, but I thought you got me going because I think you brought up a really good point that and Chris said it already, that each item that we brought up is not exclusive to each of the levels.
Right.
You can bring it in. So that was really shrewd of you to ask that question.
Great. Yeah. The biggest villain to think of right now is it is similar to the mayhem, but I call it chaos. And it's just the chaos inside of organizations that stops the growth and keeps.
But it's also, in your case, I think it's also one trick pony coaches.
Yes.
Like the coach who's got like they say they have a magic trick, and there are no magic tricks. So if they tell you they have a magic trick, they're lying.
Yeah.
That would be one that comes to my mind immediately because I know your market a little bit. I know the market of coaching, basically. And there's other ones that relate to that. Like, now we're getting into your business, which is fine because these are pop-up hot seats too. But, it's sort of like, anything that is like a one size fits all.
Yeah.
And you're the customized version. That's why I asked you, I think yesterday or on the first call, like, can you customize within EOS?
Yep.
And you can. So that gives you an unfair advantage against the competition who's using kind of like a static formula. So the static formula becomes the villain. Just one element. It's not the element. It's one element.
No, I love that. I was only thinking about the chaos, but everything
chaos
you mentioned
is there. Chaos is like, chaos is sort of like chaos is everywhere. But a coach who tells you the wrong thing, that gets more specific.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, drilling in and getting really specific, and there might be multiple villains as well.
Oh yeah, look, there were 12 in our package.
Yeah,
and they were all smiling. They were all smiling. Awesome. They were smiling swindlers.
Smiling swindlers. That's awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Nils. Gotham?
Hey, Chris. So basically, is it safe to say if you're targeting solution-aware people, it's like a flow? So you start off with solution inside the actual ad itself. You start with solution, then it goes product-aware, then it goes most-aware. Do you get what I mean? So if you're targeting problem-aware, like maybe the hook is problem-aware, and then you bring them into the solution-aware inside that same ad, product-aware, and the most-aware.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably something that happens almost instantaneously. Especially you introduce a problem. Like there was one ad that I took out that I was going to show, but it was for it's called Drift. It's a car air freshener. And it's this nice like block of wood. Most air fresheners are these cheap gas station things that hang down. And what they do in that ad, and maybe I can just show it in a second, but they introduce this concept of nose blindness. And it was like, we've all had that experience. We get in our car, we smell it, and they're like, oh God, it smells awful. But then like the next day, you don't notice it and you think, oh, it's gone. But what they introduce is like, no, it's still there. You just don't smell it because you got used to it. And so they introduce this new problem, and then they show their product as the solution. And so it just happens like that.
Perfect. That makes sense. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Bob.
No, it was just a follow-up question, but go ahead, Brian.
I was just going to say that there's a rubric here, like in terms of like there's never wasted copy. Like think about, you may not use it for every ad or everything you do, but nothing gets wasted. It's all part of your copy database, and now you start thinking about it in terms of, problem aware, solution aware, most aware. And the other thing is that when you're writing to one of these segments, and I think this is what you were hinting at, but maybe not, that there's a lead, like the headline and the lead goes to that particular segment, but the bulk of your ad can be templated in some way. So it could be used for multiple areas, but because the lead goes to that audience, because the thing is, if you've got a product or a service, it's a good product or service for anybody who uses it because you're selling it and you love it and they need it, right? So from your perspective, from their perspective, you need to get under their skin. You got to make them vibrate and you got to make them, want to buy. So you got to get that initial, oomph by getting to that audience. But the basic bulk of the ad, I'm not saying it should be word for word, but it could be. I've seen situations where, just changing the lead and the headline for certain audiences and then having the exact same ad throughout works fine. You have to test it.
Yep.
Maybe you want to tweak it in the middle too. I mean, I do this with my blog posts. Like I repeat a blog post, but then I go through it and then I kind of revise it for today, kind of thing. That's not a good. It's not a good analogy because I'm not really selling. But even in content, So I guess my point is that, it sounded like you wanted to say, I wrote this copy for this part of the audience. I have this copy for this part of the audience. Can I use them both? And the answer is yes. It's how you use them, how they merge. And if you don't want to use the second one because you think it's not applicable, don't use it. It's not going to work. But save it. Don't throw it out. So throw out no copy was what I was truly trying to say. Everything is usable. Everything is repurposable, if that's a word. And then it's revisable too. You're going to revise those leads and headlines. So it's sort of like a pep talk for everybody here that, when you write something that seems to resonate with some segment of your audience, keep using it and then keep revising it and keep adding it and when we used to have creative meetings at Boardroom, we had the big whiteboard. I mentioned that in one of the other calls. We had a big whiteboard. And one of the exercises we always did, and again, we weren't doing as segmented because it was direct mail and we were restricted, but we still wanted to try different headlines and leads. So what we did was we'd have like a 32-page promotion. That was the control. So the winning promotion was 32 pages, like a magalog. And what we would do, one of the exercises that we put everybody through before we left the creative meeting was everybody has to go from the back of the magalog and go page by page and see if they could find a headline or a lead on page 26 or 14 that maybe if we brought that forward to the top, it would appeal to some segment of our audience. And you need to always do that. Like, because if you wrote it later in your ad or later in your sales letter, you wrote it because you thought it was good, right? No wasted words, right? David Deutsch is like a master at that. It's like he doesn't waste one freaking word. That's why he took so long to do a package for me, because he was so meticulous about every goddamn word. And that's why he's so good. So if you spent that much time writing copy and it's in the middle of your sales letter, well, how could I reuse that at the top of the sales letter? Maybe you won't, but you got to keep thinking like that. I just, again, this is like a pep talk. I'm not a copywriter. I'm not a copywriter, and I don't claim to be. I call myself a copywriter wannabe. But I do know when stuff gets written and it's effective, I want to use it, and I want to use it, and I want to use it again. And I want to repurpose it and reform it. So little tangent, of course, because I'm a tangent waiting to happen. But I thought it was a useful thing to bring up here. I hope that was helpful to anybody here.
That was super helpful, Brian. Appreciate that. Just one quick thing, just so I'm getting this right. So for an unaware market, so say we're targeting air purifiers, could this be like a headline for it? Like, you'll never guess what's floating in your air right now, like, because they're not aware of the problem. But
Never guess. I mean, that's not. identification.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could certainly. I mean, that's definitely more like a top of funnel
Hmm.
message. I have to give it some thought.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Shout
Uh,
out to Laura McCrae. Thank you for sharing that from Chava. That was great.
oh, awesome. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Chava does these. He has 100. You got to get on his list. Csaba Borzasi from Hungary. He's a Titans Accelerator member, and he did 100 breakdowns of great promotions, and one of them was 12 Smiling Swindlers. So thank you, Laura. Looks like you're a fan. That's good.
Rasmus.
Hey, what's up, Chris?
Hey, man.
Lovely presentation. So I got a hold on a second.
He ran some technical issues.
Did we lose you, Rasmus? I think it was going to be good too. I got a feeling.
I had a feeling.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
So just to give you guys like a brief, I sell a pillow that relieves neck pain.
Mm-hmm.
And my funnel is typically like Facebook ads, some form of advertorial or bridge page, and then the product page. So I guess my question is, how are you supposed to structure your product page and bridge page based on states of awareness? Like, does the awareness stage refresh when they enter the final product page, or does the product page need to like start where the advertorial ended in like awareness terms, if that makes sense?
So I think just to like reframe for a second. So everything that we're talking about, we're still like part one of the book. It's all about how do you capture attention in the headline. You know,
So
so
it's all
we're
about
not,
the headlines,
yeah,
yeah.
we're not getting into he's not like getting into detailed line by line copy of like the rest. I mean, he does some of that in the book, but it's all about like how do you get attention. And so I think, and Brian was saying this before, like you can have sometimes the same sort of body copy, but you just need a new way to get them into that. So I'm not saying that you can't use some of these ideas on the states of awareness to then update and improve your body copy. But I wouldn't think about it as like I'm building an entire funnel just for like everything is problem aware. It's like how do I hook problem aware, bring awareness to the problem, and then make that transition into my sales funnel, which is your bridge page, and that's where then you're looking at your numbers of like, oh, I got all these people interested from this ad, but then they're not taking the next step that I want, so I need to fix that that mechanism in my funnel.
When we get to the office hours, Rasmus, maybe you can show us what you're doing,
Yeah.
and we'll get some input from the group on different ways to present the problem aware, solution aware, because with a neck pillow that alleviates some kind of pain, you want to show the pain. I don't know if you're doing video, but obviously a video like the ones Chris was talking about, like the one with the back and there's stuff like that you could do with a pillow to differentiate it, because differentiating a pillow is not easy, but you can do it based
Yeah.
on what, and it will be broken out by the different states of awareness, but not exclusively. I think Chris already said that, and you don't have to think about it just in terms of one, and you see what attracts the most clicks and the most, but don't you want to start with an audience, a hungry audience. That's always what, it's not about a brilliant burger. It's about the hungry audience, but that's Gary Halbert. But once you have a hungry audience, they could be hungry for different things. And I think that's where, I don't want to confuse you more because you're in the boot camp, because you're doing something good already. So I think maybe we should take a look at your ad during office hours and we'll get some commentary on it and maybe give you some different versions.
Yeah, I think I'm just confused about the states of awareness to like what extent, when, and how it's applicable. Like if you can use it for Facebook ads to target different
I
types of
think you can.
target.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
you
think
can.
yes, you can.
Because I was also thinking about this quote from John Carlton. I'm a big fan, but he says there's like a big difference between push and pull marketing. So we also run Google Ads, which I feel is more like push marketing, like here's why our pillow is the best. But then you got Facebook ads, which is more like pull, like here's why you need this pillow. So I was kind of thinking like, is that some form of states of awareness difference there? Like, is it solution aware versus problem aware? If you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, I mean, like with Google Ads, you can get a lot more granular, and that's where this exercise actually helps because you can think of those questions as search terms, or think of like what will people put into Google based on the different states of awareness, because that's where you can really see somebody's intent. And so your ad that you serve up in Google Ad can be really custom tailored to the buyer intent. So somebody who's problem aware, they're searching, they've got neck pain,
Yeah.
right? They don't know about your pillow. Maybe they don't even know that there are certain types of pillows that exist. So they're just trying to solve their neck pain, but then they see your problem solving ad with a customer testimonial. After one night, my neck felt 5 years younger or something. And that's an ad targeting the problem aware versus somebody solution aware, like who makes the best pillows for neck pain.
That's good because you don't really think of Google Ads as you can use it for problem aware, because there's always this like transactional intent for people searching for stuff like ergonomic pillow size L. They even know like the brand they want, so it's pretty like product aware, most aware.
Yeah.
But
But I think there is an opportunity. There are certain Google. I mean, I know if I was looking for a pillow for neck pain, I would ask. I would do it as a prompt, almost as a question, and that could, if you can be the solution. Um, you know, I'm interested. I don't know. I think we might have time when we have John Carlton on the call next Thursday. If you want to meet him, if you're a fan, have you met him before?
no, never.
So you'll get to meet him, and maybe you'll even let him. Maybe we'll even have him. Maybe we'll have him critique your ad.
That would be insane, honestly.
It can happen. It could happen.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much. Really helped.
Thanks, Rasmus. Iran.
Yes, what's
Let's
up?
say on your screen, I'm here to scoop. I'm not here to talk.
Oh, last time I changed it, now I forgot. It's something from like 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, but you're here. You're talking, so that's good.
Yeah, so I might be here to talk. I don't know. I'm here to watch. Okay.
I'm glad you're talking.
Okay, so I'm curious, like if someone is he's like he know what is the desire he wants to satisfy, he also know what is the way you want to satisfy it with, but he doesn't yet know of my way. Like, wouldn't you say it is a product aware because he knows about the way? And I'll give an example. I had to learn some words because I don't market in English mainly. So one of my clients is a Building Control Institute. Like the avatar is real estate entrepreneurs. I know that their desire is to get. Do you know what is a building permit? Like, okay, so the desire is to get a building permit fast. Okay, now where I see great success right now is go for the entrepreneurs who like they know they start to realize that they need a building control institute, but they doesn't yet know of ours. And like in the headlines, which the thing that works really well for me is like I take like their desire and I also put the building control there. So I'm just curious, like wouldn't you say it's product aware? Or is it, or would you call it a solution aware? Like I know it works, so maybe I don't need to get too technical. Like you just said in the last answer, like you need to just capture attention. So it's maybe I don't need to get too technical about it, but I'm just curious. Like if they know what they want, they know they need a building control institute for that, but they doesn't yet know about ours. So how would you call it?
I mean, by the way you describe it, by definition, just based on that definition, I would say that's solution aware because they don't know about your specific product. But this sounds like a market where, you need a building permit, and I don't remember exactly what your headline is, but I think seeing that they want to get it fast, and then here's a specific product to get it fast. You see it as a product, they see it as a solution. So maybe in your mind, because you're so close to it, you're like, here's my product and it gets it fast. But in their mind, they're like, oh, this solves my problem. I didn't know about this product before.
Even if if they know they start to realize like they need a building control institute, but they doesn't yet know of mine. So would you still call it solution? Like maybe a better example will be like I have another client who's his business is like selling eBay dropshipping courses. So also there, like where I see the greatest amount of success is on our ads is go for solution. So like the solution, like the desire is like, okay, make money online, but they doesn't like work with my messaging. Like I go for people who like, they know they want to make money online. They don't know if it's eBay dropshipping, it's crypto, it's I don't know what. They want to make money online. And then I like channel it to his solution. But assuming like I was going to after people who are like, okay, I know I want to make money online. I know I want to do it through dropshipping, but I don't know this person. Like, would you still call it a solution or product? Because they also know like the way they want to do it, but doesn't know about his specific offer.
Well, I mean, what Gene says in the book, like the key distinction is what makes somebody product aware is that they know about your specific product. And so that's how he distinguishes it. But like I was saying before, I think there are gradations inside of solution aware where they know about specific types of products, or they just have a general idea that there are solutions for making money online. Maybe I'm comparing drop shipping with something else, and I haven't landed on something. So you got to make the case to me about why this is the best solution to make money online. So I mean, it's kind of I appreciate that it's the philosophical question. I mean, ultimately you've got something that's working for you, and all we're giving you is just new things that you can test to see if we can beat it. Because it was Gary Bencivenga, like the control is now the enemy. So you got something that's working. Now let's try and destroy that thing.
So would you say like in the difference between solution and product, maybe not trying to be too technical about it and just stick to the main job of the headline?
Yeah, I mean, just for me, the way I read it and what Gene says is that the main difference is that they know about your specific product. So that's the distinction I make between the problem the product aware and solution aware.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, man. All right, so we went just like 30 minutes over. So I appreciate you guys staying on.
Yeah, thanks everybody for sticking around. We're only halfway through.
Yeah.
3 more calls plus the accelerator call next Thursday. So got a lot more to cover, a lot more to do. Really appreciate everybody, their input and Chris, this is like I'm not just saying this. I mean, this is the 8th one we've done, and I've learned stuff in this one that I didn't know before. And that's the thing. Like when Paris Lampropoulos talks about breakthrough advertising. Paris is an A-list copywriter. He has a group of copy cubs of like 11 copywriters who he trains. He doesn't. They don't pay him to do the training. However, if they don't do what he tells them to do, he kicks them out, and that's a bad thing, because if you stay in Paris's good graces, he will get you assignments. He will work with you, and he's really great about that. And so I asked Paris once, is Breakthrough Advertising is the first book that you would recommend to any copywriter? And he said no, because it's an advanced text. This is Paris Lampropoulos, A-list copywriter, saying it's an advanced text. He would do, Dan Kennedy's Ultimate Sales Letter, or, the Copywriter Handbook by Bob Bly, or something like that, as a first introduction to copywriting, not necessarily marketing, but copywriting. And Breakthrough Advertising, as you know, is much, even after 3 calls and you've had the book, it's a lot more than just copywriting. So, but Paris also says that it's a book that, every copywriter and marketer needs to have in their library, but it can't just sit on the shelf. And that's the purpose of this bootcamp, to make sure that it doesn't sit on the shelf. And hopefully, if some of the stuff, I'm sure some of you are following along perfectly and you're thinking about how to adapt it, and some of you might feel a little lost. Don't feel bad about that. The idea is that you're in the game. You got to be in the game. You got to be in it to win it. And so I just, again, another pep talk of sorts, but I just want everybody to know that, the book is not, it's as Chris has said multiple times, it's a dense book, and we're really picking it apart and now trying to adapt it to everybody's business. And we'll do that more specifically next week when we do some pop-up hot seats and office hours and things like that. So, you can speak, even for 10 minutes on your specific business, and we'll try to, not just Chris and I, everybody in the group will give you input. It'll be, that's what a pop-up hot seat's all about. So anyway, I just don't want anybody to feel intimidated, and I don't want anybody to feel like a know-it-all either. Just, stay with us. Really good group. I mean, I'm impressed with the questions, and Chris, you're doing great.
Thank you. Yeah. I actually feel like after the 8th one, I'm starting to kind of get the hang of it.
Yeah, I think you're getting the hang of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least you've read the book a few times, so that's
yeah. It's all, yeah. I always learn a lot doing this too.
Yeah,
It's been refreshing.
I learned a ton.
Cool. All right, guys.
Monday.
Thanks again. Yeah, Monday, same time. You've got the links on your calendar, so go ahead and let you go. I'll get this recording out.
And then a reminder that, again, next week is Monday, Wednesday, same time, Thursday, same time, but it's accelerator call.
Yep.
And then the following Monday, and then we'll wrap on Monday the 19th.
Yeah,
So,
I moved the Friday, May 16th call to Monday the 19th.
Right.
Hopefully all those calendar invites went out, but cool. All right, guys, have a good rest of your Friday, and we'll see you soon.